Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your podcast. It is Reviewing the Call once again. Domo, Chris, and myself here to entertain you guys on this beautiful day. We record on Tuesdays, but you guys are listening to this on a Friday. So happy Friday, y'all. How have
Happy
you guys
Friday.
been? I hope everybody has been doing good. It's been already feels like a long ass week on my end. But how have you guys been, man? What's going on with you boys? Domo, we missed you last week, brother. Everything cool with the internet and your power outage? I know
Yeah.
you had like a storm fly through you guys or something like that.
Yeah, we finally got some rain. We finally got a storm. And it wasn't a crazy storm, but it was just enough of a storm to cause some wind and everything. And the internet went out. We had power and everything, but the internet went down. AT&T went down. And I was at work the next day, and Deanna texted was like, "We still don't have internet," and it got home. So it is what it is. But I've been doing all right. Family's good. My baby's he's learning more and more words. He says hi. He says bye. Earlier he told me no. He does all kind of stuff. Like it's crazy. He wants chocolate for breakfast now.
What the-
Chocolate.
Oh wow.
Like yeah. He goes crazy with it. I did some fishing this past Sunday just for bait. And it was good. It was a real relaxed day. Weather was really good. Water was up a little bit. We caught probably 5 carp ish. So it was good. It was good. Other than that, just work.
I see.
Work.
I see that you are wearing your UT shirt.
Bum,
How
You heard of him?
was?
bum.
Y'all
how
heard of
was-
him?
I don't know
Nobody
who-
said
I don't
that,
know
bro.
who
How
they are.
are you?
Yeah.
How are you? USC knows who they are.
Whoa,
title,
dude,
bud.
that was aggressive.
National title. But hey, no, real quick. I was texting the group chat. Do y'all believe now? Let me ask you, Misa, specifically. I feel like you were going for Colorado and they were playing USC. Were you going
When I was
for
going for
Colorado?
On Saturday? No, I was rooting for USC, but
No? Okay.
I did like
Okay.
how he closed the gap at the end. Does that make sense? Like, because they were getting
Yeah.
blown out of the water, but then
100%.
he closed the gap a little
100%.
bit, and I like football that's like close like that when it comes to like the final 2 minutes of the half or whatever, or the quarter. Like,
What-
I
I
that's what I
agree
enjoy.
100%. I think in that game, not that I think, I know in that game, because even the announcers, everybody's like, what are they doing? Clock management was a problem
Yep.
at the very end. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, you got all this momentum.
It
Anyways,
was
we can
like-
get to that later, but
It was like how Chris
No,
plays
let's-
Madden, and then he
let's get
forgets
to it
about
now.
the clock management. That's how. Chris
Yeah,
plays
that's true.
Madden.
Okay.
I am terrible at clock management on sport games.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like, honestly, I feel like you and Chris were pulling for Colorado, but I was like, well, I don't know about Chris, but like, I know Misa, USC guy, and I'm like, kind of
Yeah.
like, well, they're playing USC though. So like,
No,
do you believe now?
So, yeah.
No, for me, bro,
uh,
honestly,
uh-huh.
Nobody will give me an answer to that.
for me,
Nobody
bro.
will give me an answer.
So, when we moved to Texas, I was still small, and I didn't catch that much USC going, into my adult
I
life.
got you. Yeah.
I've actually never been really into college sports that much, but the whole Colorado train with Deion Sanders, obviously that caught traction.
Yeah.
So I could care less who actually won that game, TBH. But it was just fun to see, especially after the annihilation that they just went through with Oregon. So,
No doubt,
everybody
no doubt.
assumed, and 48-41 is not the worst score ever, but they should have pulled the trigger a lot sooner than at the end of the game.
Yeah, it was definitely second half adjustments because they
Yeah.
got all their points and all their yards in the second half.
Facts.
And then right at the very end of the game, they had all the momentum and the clock
Yep.
management was just busted. And then you lose the game. So literally USC was just taking knees like, oh, thanks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't have to do anything. We don't have to
Yeah.
react to this,
So like I think to kind of bounce off of like what Chris said, and then it's a good part of the game seeing Deion Sanders and everything that he's bringing back into the college football game, because everybody started kind of like, not saying everybody, because there's those diehard like college football only
there's
fans
some
that will
diehard
only
college
watch
football.
football, like college
my God,
football
yeah.
and stuff,
They-
and even if
they
they,
don't
didn't
even
go to
watch
that school, they
NFL.
just
They only
diehard
watch the
college
team,
football.
that's it.
And I understand why.
I know some people like that.
Yeah, and I get it why, like, because they say that like the talent is playing for a spot in the NFL, so they have more to play for. So you see a lot more of the passion, which I completely agree. I think that Deion Sanders bringing all this like into college football again is pretty dope. I was excited just to see like them go against USC because of also Jerry Rice's son is on USC, so you get that little rivalry again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, and Deion said he's like, I don't care about not in a rude way, but he just said, I don't care about Jerry Rice's kid. I care about my kids, like the people on my team, which I get. I mean, it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, I was rooting for USC the whole time I was watching the game, but it was kind of crazy seeing them slowly creep back in. And like Chris said, 48-41, it's not a bad, like we didn't blow them out the water. They did initially, but then they kind of snuck back in. So, and like to bounce off what Domo said, management.
If I remember right, sorry to interrupt. I checked the rankings yesterday morning. USC went from number 8 to number 9, even though they won. But I think it's because it's how that's the shitty part about college football. You can have like 20 undefeated teams, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's what it is. Even though nobody's lost a game, it's how you perform in the game. So, if I remember correctly, USC went from number 8 to number 9, even though they won, and they're still undefeated. It's just how they performed against that team. So part of this is not luck, but in the sense of like if you're supposed to beat a team by 20, you got to beat them by 20.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah,
because you could still win and then fall back in the rankings.
Yeah, and it's all like
expectations. I pulled up
we get into the UT stuff later, but
I pulled up the stats for that game alone, and USC had a total yards of 498, and Colorado had 564.
And that came in the second half, right? Most of it?
Yeah, most of them came in the second half, like you said.
Right, yeah.
And in passing yards, USC had 403, and Colorado was 371. All second half work for Colorado. So in rushing, Colorado beat that. They had 193, and USC only had 95 rushing yards. So what I'm trying to say is that I think that USC just kind of like let off the throttle, like we usually say. Because they were like, man, we're already ahead like crazy. They were up 34 points before the half, or they had scored 34 points already, and Colorado only had 14. So they were thinking, oh, this is in the bag already. So
they maintained a 20-point lead for most of the game.
Yeah, like
they were up by 20, then it was like 14, then 20, then 14. It kept going 20 because at one point they were going back and forth, like score, like immediate scores. And like I said, obviously, credit to Colorado. I know I'm just kind of shitting on them, but it's just more of like the hype of like the Dion and all that stuff. And like, it's like, okay, you went in and did crazy stuff in college football. It's good for college football. And I guarantee you Colorado and the NCAAF is loving it. But at the same time, there's like haters like me where it's kind of like, yeah, dude, you can't just do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a Cinderella story, and here we are week 4 or week 5, and you're 3-2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then I really love seeing Caleb Williams out there, the QB for USC, Heisman Trophy winner.
That dude's a killer.
He's probably gonna go for a second Heisman Trophy this year with the way he's playing.
USC's offense is like leaving. You got Michigan, you got Texas, you got Georgia, you got Alabama, all these teams. USC's offense right now, they're ranked number 9, but their offense is probably the top in college football. Like they just score. You have to keep up with them. So even though they're ranked number 8, number 9, whatever it is, they're probably the top offense though.
Yeah, and then I mean I don't know, to kind of bounce off from both of you guys, what you guys were saying with Dion and stuff like that, like the hype train and all that. It's great for the sport itself, but you really have to be able to back up what you're spitting. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be getting blown out of the water. And like we said, he came back
like last week from Oregon.
With Oregon, exactly. You can't be going through that.
And they're 3-2. Okay.
Yeah. So like,
I love how Domo just like throws it in there.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll come to.
It's just funny to me, bro. I love it.
But I mean, it's the truth though. Like, you can't really be going into it talking all this. It's just like a UFC fighter, right? A UFC fighter is going to talk all this shit, and then when it comes to the fight, you get dropped in the first 15, 20 seconds of the fight. It's like, well, all that talk really didn't get you nowhere. And it's the same thing with sports, not just college football, just any sport. You got to try to stay as quiet as possible, move in silence, and then win the big game. You know what I mean? And then with Colorado, they've just obviously talked a lot. And I think that it's also angered every team that they've played. They're like, dude, y'all have not stopped talking. Y'all have this hype train going, and you guys can't do nothing on the field. And then obviously Oregon came out and was upset about that, especially because they saw the Colorado players wiping their feet on their logo.
Yeah, that was disrespectful,
can't do that, bro. Can't do that. You know, that's
I think you can't do that, especially. Oh, go ahead.
So it's a little reminder of when Baker Mayfield planted the flag on Nick Bosa's team, and Nick Bosa did not let him forget that in the NFL. You know what I mean? Like he did not forget that in the NFL. Like he was like, I remember when you did that. You know?
No, what I was gonna say is that the Colorado's team, it's all hype train right now because of the attention he's bringing in, which is awesome. Yeah. But at the same time, they haven't built a record. Like they're a team that's building up right now. They're not like Oregon. They're not like USC or Alabama. These teams. I don't even watch college football, and I know that. You know, like to go out there and just it to me it was disrespectful. It's like when you spit on the logo or something like that. You know, like that stuff's disrespectful. And as a team, I think you're all, if they're playing like that, go all out and ball out. But you gotta, if you're gonna do that, you gotta end up winning the game because you look hella stupid, especially with
at the end,
with Deion's son with flexing his watch, and then you get blown 42 to whatever the score was. So I just wanted to throw that in there because
one more thing I was gonna say is and you're right 100% about the hype train, and that's what it is, and it's good for the sport. It's good for the sport of college football and getting eyes on the game. But you got to think about it. They were unranked, and everything that Deion did coming in week 1 playing TCU, who's ranked, I think they were ranked like 18, something like that. And that's what I was saying. Do you believe now? After the game, he was smacking the table. Do you believe now? Do you believe now? And it's like, for me, no, I don't believe. You're 3-2. Okay, yeah, you came out and you won your opener, and it's like holy shit, and you won your second one, holy shit, and then you got blown out. You know what I mean? So you're 3-2, and like I said on the text message, the group chat, your record, you are what your record says you are. They're a 3-2 team. There's a lot of undefeated teams out there still.
Yeah.
So there you go, and it's a hype train, which is good for college football, but Colorado. Never has it ever happened where a coach just comes in, gets rid of everybody, brings in his own guys, and they go win. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
You're saying game 1, they won. They beat a ranked team. Do you believe now? And I was like, oh, and I watched that game. That was amazing. I was like, holy shit. Like, and it was a close game. I think they won by 3, something like that. And it was in TCU, if I remember right. But I swear to God, I was on my couch. I was like, no, I don't believe. This isn't gonna work. Like, it's not gonna work, man. Like, it's not gonna work.
I don't know. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Anyways, Chris, we got into college football immediately. Chris, how was your week? How was your weekend?
Oh, damn. Oh, thanks, Domo. No, it was
you
good.
brought up the Texas, and I just had to go.
I know. No, it was good. It was same old. Yeah, just chilled with the family for a bit. And then Sunday, just church all day. And then regular work, bro. Nothing too exciting for me.
I saw you've been posting a little bit on Instagram. You had a new song come out or something.
Yeah. But so this church has a lot of capabilities to, get your recordings out and stuff like that. So I go up there Sunday right after the last service, and I go up there and I do like a quick mix, or the actual engineer will do one for me. And then shout out to Leo Jr. that's letting me borrow his Sony camera because the quality on those cameras are beautiful. So he's been letting me borrow it till I buy one. But, dude, it's been so much fun, getting to go have that feeling again to because I don't want to get too deep into it, but from a church where, you're not happy and then you go into finally happy again. Not because of the lights, not because of the sound. Your heart is just filled. The people around you make you feel, that Christ love again. So I'm just happy to be back fully. I never left, but you get church hurt, like they say, and then you just don't want to do nothing. But that's pretty much it for me. Besides the music stuff, just chilled with the family. And that's pretty much it. Oh, David ended up getting it. My son. His teacher moved on to like a different role, so he got switched to a new teacher, and it's been kind of an adjustment because he was used to the teacher that he had. So he took her flowers on Friday because that was her last day, and so when she saw David on Monday, she's still at the school, but she's just like in a different spot. And when she saw David on Monday, she went over there, hugged him, and she took him to class and stuff like that, and unfortunately, all the friends that David had made already, they all pretty much dispersed into new classes. So fortunately, she was able to choose David's best friend to go with David. So they're together, and then they're building like new friends now.
Nice.
So I just thought
Nice.
that was pretty nice of her to do that because she didn't need to, obviously.
Yep.
But it was cool that she was able to be like, no, like they need to be together. They're already like besties, pretty much. So yeah. But he's loving the new teacher, and but yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to throw that in because we usually talk about our
That's
kids and
awesome.
stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw one thing in. Speaking of flowers, yesterday was me and Deanna's 13th wedding anniversary. So
Whoa.
I
Wow.
my shop and got some flowers and all that
Congrats,
stuff.
bro.
Yeah.
Congrats. Maybe
And-
there it is. I was looking for that.
You got 9 seconds of it.
Yeah. I got home with the flowers and some chocolates. Nothing crazy, you know. It's been 13 years and it's been amazing, obviously. But got the flowers and she was when I pulled into the neighborhood, I looked over and she was driving Giuseppe, our son, in his little Lamborghini, his little remote control Lamborghini. He looks so funny because like she's driving it and he's like whipping around like this, like, and his hair's like whipping in the wind, you know, like. So I get out of the car and I run inside and I get a vase. We don't have like a tiny vase. We have just like normal vases, I guess. And of course, the bouquet that I got, I put it in there and it looks like so thin. I was like, now it's in the front by the front door right here, but it's like, when it was packaged, it looked like it was full, and I took it out of the package and just went, shh. You know, I mean, beautiful looking flowers, but it's just so thin, and I was like, I'm sorry, but
You should have gone to the backyard and filled it in with like some of the grass clippings that you have, and just been like make it look bigger.
all the dog poop in the backyard, just throw it in the water, like.
It's fertilizer, babe. I swear.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
it was good. It was good.
That's good, man.
Shout out to Deanna. Deanna putting up with my
Congrats,
shit.
dude.
Nice.
13
Yeah,
years is
congratulations,
a lot,
bro.
man. Congratulations,
Yeah,
dude. That's great.
October 2nd, 2010.
Dude,
Yeah.
I forget how old you guys are.
great.
Misa, how long you been married?
Married
Ooh,
8 years.
I just put you in the spot, bro.
No, married 8. Going on 8. October 30th
He's like,
will be
it froze.
8. No, October 30th will be 8
Wow.
of this
dude.
year. Yeah. But
That's
we've been
crazy,
together
'cause-
for a long time, right?
Yeah,
Obviously,
you've been
so-
together for 45 years, and you're not even 40.
Yeah, I'm 32. but
me
we've
and
been together for a long time.
Deanna, me and Deanna were dating or whatever, like, and not dating, but boyfriend, girlfriend, I guess, as much as you can be in middle school, and then on and off through high school, and then now we're 13 years married. So this goes way back to like,
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess technically, I was probably 13-ish. She was 13, 14, something like that. Like,
Damn.
goes way back.
When you know, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, when you know, you know.
We should open a love podcast.
Yeah, we'll call it Three Bros in Love. All right, I got no feedback on that
Three
name.
bros, just a couple hoes.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was
Okay, so
good.
Misa, how have you been?
Yeah, Misa, tell us about your week.
Dude, my week was good. It was fun filled. Worked all last week, and then my daughter actually drove down with her grandparents to Houston because she had her second year or 2-year doctor appointment. So she drove down to Houston. So the wife and I stayed here in Dallas, and we just we went to a couple like restaurants and like bar things in Dallas that we had never checked out. And then we realized that we are getting older and we just can't hang like that anymore. And it's not about pounding drinks and getting like extremely drunk, but I was like, dude, there's way too many people in here. Why is this so loud? I was complaining about like the smell.
My back hurts.
I was like, dude, my back hurts. Yeah. I was like, I need to go home. But I mean, it was cool. And then like in our little town here, they had like it's called like Brews on Boyd d'Arc, I guess is like the street name. And they shut down the street and they have like a bunch of breweries come in and like they pitch tents and stuff. And then you just kind of like go around tasting the beers and buy tickets for certain beers that you want to try. They had like live music. So it was pretty cool seeing the little town like that, like all lit up. And then you could go into like the boutiques in downtown. But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. And then I actually took her to the 49er bar on Sunday. She had never been with me.
Ooh.
So this Sunday was the
Poor
first time
girl.
she went. Yeah.
Sorry,
And,
Sam. Sorry, I know they're winning, but jeez.
And
Sorry about
she
that.
had a good time. Everybody was so welcoming. So shout out to the Frisco 49er group. Everybody was so welcoming. They were like, wow, we believe him now. He's actually married. Because for a whole year I would be like, oh, my wife doesn't live here. She lives in Houston. So they probably thought that I was making that shit up.
We go to different schools.
Yeah. So we went there, and then the baby came back Sunday, and then we just kind of hung out with the baby, and then just back to work this week. And obviously we all know that like in October she knows already it's baseball playoffs, so it's
oh yeah,
I get my time. So but yeah, that was pretty much it. And speaking of baseball playoffs, Chris, ring is in, buddy. Dun dun dun! It is baseball playoffs. October has come upon us a lot faster than expected. The wild card has started. It is Tuesday night, so tonight's games are the first game of the wild card 3-game series. Top seed, home field advantage, obviously throughout the series. It's a 3-game series, so best out of 3. Whoever wins 2 advances to the divisional series round. From the early day today, we had the Twins against the Blue Jays, and we had the Rangers against the Rays. The Twins took the win in that one, so they are up 1-0, and the Rangers took the win 4-0. But just a fun little nugget. I don't know if you guys remember when we did our like trivia game, and you guys were talking about Randy Arozarena. So one of the announcers makes a Macarena song, like Macarena. They make one for Randy Arozarena because he steals so many bases. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I saw it today on TikTok, and I was like, that's dope, man. But with the playoffs being in full swing, we're gonna do our predictions for the wild card round, obviously, and then the divisional round as well, and the championship series. But is there anything in particular that you guys have on your mind, Chris? I know you have a lot to say. With the Rangers being in the wild card after all year, leading the division or their respective division in wins, they led for 159 days. They were in first place. The Houston Astros, the Houston Astros were only in first place for 24 days, and they won that division.
So that's what I'm talking about right there.
The Rangers. What happened, man? What happened?
The Rangers.
Easy, bro.
I just don't understand how you let you could have had the first round bye. Obviously, that's what you're shooting for. You had the better. In a sense, you had the better team built. You have great talent. You had great pitching. Obviously, injuries happen and stuff like that. But man, it just sucks to see them not be in that divisional round bye, waiting for whoever wins, right? Because Houston is a great team, and it's not against anything with Houston. It's just that the Rangers had to lead for so long, and they just slowly let it slip.
I was surprised by it a bit.
So
I don't follow baseball that much, and I know the Rangers were doing really good, and I don't follow it, like I said, that much, but even I kind of caught on to like, okay, so they're not in first anymore. Not that the Astros were, but it was like I thought they were dominating, and then
they were, man. They were dominating the whole year. That whole AL side was all Tampa Bay Rays and all Texas Rangers. But the thing about the Texas Rangers, that to me they're the little brother of Texas in most recent years. Because the Houston Astros, after 2016, to be specific, they've been a dominant team. They've been back to the World Series multiple times, divisional, conference, everything. So they're a dominant team, and they know when to get hot correctly. The Rangers are not built like that. They're not. This is probably I can't even remember the last time I saw the Rangers in the conversation of even in the wild card. So it's kind of funny to see that they're battling now. But the Houston Astros just pulled the trigger at the right time, and the Rangers let off the throttle at the wrong time. A big upset there too was the Mariners. The Mariners getting knocked, and then the Texas Rangers and Houston leading the West was kind of crazy to see. And right now, if you looked at the standings for the regular season, they were the exact same standing. So they were both 90 and 72, but like I said, the Astros just won the correct games, and the Rangers, they lost their last game, and that's what really kind of the last nail in the coffin. So it's kind of go ahead.
So like the Astros were They needed wins this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Because they were on the brink of being eliminated from playoff contention if certain things fell into certain places. But
Yep.
we say this, and we've said, I mean, obviously we've only done our podcast for a year, but even before our podcast, we have always said that Houston is a dangerous team when it comes to sneaking into playoffs. They're a sneaky threat. You can't take them lightly, and it shows because for one, they have great hitting, they have a great rotation, and they have a good bullpen. In my opinion, they are the team to beat in the AL. And I know they're not as ranked as high as they normally are, but they are a team that when it comes, like Chris said, when it comes to playoffs, they know when the light is on, it's time to like rock the house. And Houston is very good at doing that, and they've shown that in the last couple of years. This was going to be the first time they missed the playoffs in so long, right? And everything just fell into the right spots. And we say this even with football and with any NBA, NHL, with anything. Everything has to work in order, and then once it does, you're set in. You're in the playoffs. It is a new season at that point because you can forget the record in the MLB. You just go into it as okay. Now we're doing day by day. We got to win X amount to advance to the next game, 13 games total, whatever it is, to win the World Series. You know, like that. You take that into consideration. And the Rangers, unfortunately, they couldn't pull the trigger. And like Chris said, like it was just they are the little sister of Texas and Houston. Houston has been champs, obviously twice. And then I think the last playoff appearance for the Rangers was in 2016, and they've had 3 since 2011 against the Rays. So this would be the third. So matchup between the Rays.
Not just that. So we keep looking at the wild card. Wild card ends on Thursday. You know, if there's no rain delays and all that stuff. So once and it'll get pushed to Friday. Saturday is the start of wild card has ended and we're going into the actual division now. So that's gonna be amazing to see because I love playoffs in any sport, but then you're gonna look at Astros have to face who's on that bracket for them.
Not the Yankees.
It could be the Blue Jays. It could be the Rangers, the Rays, the Twins. It just depends on who loses and who wins from that division, right? Because you have your number 1 seed waiting, which is the Orioles, and then you got your 2 with the Astros. So it depends on who the highest closest is. They all play the Astros, and then the lowest seed will play the top seed.
So you got the Blue Jays and the Twins. That's whoever wins out of those, they play the Astros, and then bottom is Tampa and Rangers. But what I was gonna say is that if the Blue Jays pull it off, which is the team that I'm rooting for, I know we're not doing our picks yet, but I would like to see the Blue Jays there. If they pull it off, going against the Astros in a familiar position that they've been in before, waiting, having an extra kind of week rest. Do y'all think it's going to be killer in any of these 4 teams that are waiting right now? Or is it going to be more beneficial? You got to remember, MLB's a long season. It's not just 16, 17 games or however much the NBA is and all that. It's 162 games. That is a long series, season. So I think coming off of that, the wild card is kind of that rest that these 4 teams need: the Astros, the Orioles, the Dodgers, and the Braves. But it also could be that fire that, let's say the Blue Jays or the Twins went to go into the Astros, that fire can just keep pushing, They got all the traction in the world. So do y'all think, and I asked this question when we did the Super Bowl stuff, when we did the final stuff, do you think a rest is needed or would you prefer coming in hot?
I think that a rest is needed because in my opinion, it depends who your team is, right? Because sometimes you want the momentum all the way through. But in my opinion, like for just speaking for the Dodgers themselves, from what I see, is we have a young bullpen with Kershaw obviously leading the mound now. They need the rest because they haven't been in this position. There's outfielders that we have that haven't been in this position. There's position players that haven't been in this position. So they need the rest. They need to get mentally prepared because playing playoffs in any sport is a lot more. It's way more different than playing a regular Tuesday night game. This is playoffs contention. Facts. So there's a different environment. But if I'm a team that snuck into the wild card and now you have the momentum of I just swept XYZ team I'm moving on to the divisional. I know I'm playing a better team, but I already have the momentum. Obviously, you want to carry it through. But I think that a rest is key for the young talent that's coming up because they have to mentally prepare for this playoff picture. Like you don't know who you're going to face. Like you don't know if you're going to face a powerhouse hitting team, like Philly or something like that, or if you're going to be facing somebody that's not as powerful on the hitting side, but they're great in the bullpen. So it goes both ways. You really, when it comes to playoffs, I know that we always say like sometimes a rest will affect you because you lose the momentum, but there are cases where it heats you guys right back up because you're ready to go come Saturday. You're like game 1 at home. Here we go. Like it's time. And then you sweep. You know what I mean?
And then this is what they all play for. This is what they all play for. They don't play. Like Mookie said a couple of days ago. He's like MVP. Okay, we're trying to win a ring. Like that's the whole point of even playing. Like some people do like those accolades, and I get that. But the whole point of any sport, in my opinion, would be to get that final ring at the end to lift up that trophy for your city. Now the Astros. For instance, so you got the Blue Jays and the Twins. Let's say the Twins win it, right? The Astros fan base in October baseball is insane. I've been to games in playoff and any like obviously like the home team is gonna be crazy, but I've personally been to the Houston Astros playoff stuff, and man, that place shakes. So like a team that hasn't been there in years, the Twins, going into Minute Maid Park, where the Astros are most dominant in, and that's a fearful thing. It's the same thing in Dodger Stadium. Dodger Stadium is one of the loudest stadiums. Then you go down to Atlanta. Atlanta's a loud-ass stadium because they've been there. They know what it takes. Now, the Orioles, which is a joke team that we always said, remember we said in the past episodes, we always make fun of the Orioles, and look at them now. They're sitting in the number 1 spot in the AL. So that's going to be a whole different environment for Oriole fans. But the other 3 teams, they've experienced playoffs before. Unfortunately, the Dodgers have experienced this more than enough, and we haven't won. But the fan base is there. So that's what I love about postseason baseball or any playoff sport, is because the home team shows up, the home fan base shows up, and they make that building shake, man. You can feel it.
If I could chime in real quick.
Go ahead.
Just 2 points on my side. Speaking of the Minnesota Twins, I've seen Minnesota play in Minnesota. I was in high school. It's just a good memory. My grandpa took me to go see my great-grandpa. We took I-35 north from Austin all the way up to Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I got to go see them play. I'll never forget that. It was pretty cool. And then the other thing was Baltimore. Like you were saying, the Orioles. Maybe I'm just out of the game, which I am out of the game, but at the same time, they're a great team, and I don't ever remember hearing that Baltimore Orioles are a good team at all.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry. I thought Chris was going to chime in.
Yeah. My bad.
No, I thought because Chris said so I thought he was going to keep going. But no, you're 100% correct. And to base off like what you're saying is, with the Orioles themselves, that organization, they were at a point where people were just booing the hell out of any player that stepped up. And then obviously you build through your system, you build through your farming system, and then you see this young talent come up to bat and come up to the mound, and then you build momentum in the fan base, and then you have a great season. It's going to be very unfortunate for Oriole fans if this ends up being the only time that they get the playoffs and they don't get any victories, whatever. Worst case scenario, right? But I don't see that happening with Baltimore. I feel like Chris said, that fan base is going to be crazy because they haven't experienced that in so long. They haven't experienced the playoff victory, and then the fan base is back into it. So now the crowd is popping off in Baltimore, and it's going to be a crazy experience for that. But just to base off what you were saying with Minnesota, so the last time Minnesota won a playoff game was 2004. Carlos Correa was 10 years old. Shark Tale was the #1 movie. Goodie by Sierra was the #1 song. Nintendo DS was just released. The Nokia was the most popular cell phone, the Nokia 2600. And the Montreal Expos, they still existed.
That
was
the last
time
I
was going to say they existed?
Yeah, that was the last
Montreal,
time Minnesota won a playoff game. So that's another
That's
fan base
crazy.
also that it's gonna get like that. Wow, like, and they just got their first victory in playoffs. So now, and they were the joke in the playoff bracket, in my opinion. They were like, well,
Yeah.
it was kind of a shit game anyways, but you weren't really thinking Minnesota was going to take, or not saying that they're going to sweep or take the win. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think baseball playoffs, crazy. I love it, and it brings the fan bases together. So just to wrap up right now, right? The Rangers won today, and a lot of people were doubting them. The Blue Jays lost, so they continue
4-0.
The Blue Jays continue an 18-game playoff losing streak. They haven't won a playoff game in 18 games. So the times that they've been. So that's a long losing streak. And then the Marlins are up right now in the top of the 7. I mean, the Marlins are losing in the top of the 7 to the Phillies, 3-0.
Yeah.
The Diamondbacks are up in the top of the 8th,
3-1.
4-3.
3-1.
Oh, 3-1. They just scored.
3-1.
Okay, so
They just
3-1.
scored.
I didn't get that update. It's still saying 3-0, but if they scored, they scored. We're going to do, before we get into our
3-1.
football, we just wanted to bring back, because playoffs are back around the corner. I mean, back around the corner. Playoffs are here now, guys, so get ready. We are going to bring playoff breakdowns and stuff like that coming next week. We still have a lot of football to talk, so we're going to do our predictions for the wild card. And since the divisional series comes up, we'll have already a backup plan for the divisional series, because we record on Tuesday, so they will already go through a couple games by the time we get to Tuesday. But for the wild card, for me, I'm gonna go with the Rangers winning against the Rays and advancing. I'm gonna go with the Blue Jays actually beating the Twins and advancing. I'm gonna go Diamondbacks beating the Brewers, and then I'm gonna go Philly beating the Marlins, in my opinion.
Okay. Domo, you want to go?
Is that your opinion, Misa?
In my opinion.
I want to take. Mine's similar to his. I'm going to take the Rangers winning. I'm going to take the Twins. I'm going to take Philly. I'm going to take the Brewers.
Okay. I'm going to go Rangers, Blue Jays, Brewers, and Marlins.
All right.
Are y'all's the same picks?
No.
No, pretty
No?
close, but no. But yeah, so those are our predictions for the wild card, and then we'll come back next week with the divisional round going already. Dodgers play on Saturday, Orioles play Saturday, Astros play Saturday, Braves play Saturday. So we're all waiting for Saturday baseball to come around. Watch out for the Braves, hot team. Watch out for the Orioles, young hot team. So, and then the Astros, obviously, you got to fear them in playoffs. So we're excited. I'm not going to talk too highly of the Dodgers, because the Dodgers break my heart every single October. But
I will. Let's go Dodgers.
Yeah. So go
I'm
Dodgers,
blue,
but,
baby.
yeah. So go Dodgers, but we are very anxiety driven in October. So
Skeptical?
yeah, hella skeptical. But that is our predictions for the wild card. Chris, take us into our NFL segment if you can, bro. All right, so week 4 has wrapped up, and it started off with a Thursday night Lions-Packer game. Before we go into breaking down games, we are going to recap our picks from last week. So Domo went with the Texans, the Saints, and the Eagles, and he got 2 victories, only lost the 1. Christopher went with Green Bay, Miami, and Kansas City. He lost 2 and won 1. And I went with Buffalo, the Bucks, and the Patriots. And I lost 1. I knew I shouldn't have gone with the Patriots, but I was obviously anti-Cowboy. But so
you know, Tom Brady, he doesn't play anymore. Tom Brady's not there.
Damn it!
Okay?
I wish I would have known. But yeah, so Chris lost.
Didn't you hear that, bro?
Yeah. So Chris is actually, if I'm not mistaken, you were pretty close to losing this thing. I mean, I know we still got a lot of football left, but you've lost 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, we still got
There's a ton of football left.
Yeah. But let's start with Thursday night's game. Domo, it was your Packers in Lambeau against the Detroit Lions, the new face of the North. What were your
Jeez?
thoughts? What were your thoughts on that?
Have you ever seen Have you ever seen the movie? It's Ace Ventura. I think it's When Nature Calls. And he's like, I thought you'd never ask. And he goes, he just starts spitting everything out.
Yeah.
So with Green Bay, it's been a good time for a long time, right? And when it went from Favre to Rodgers, it was kind of hairy for just a little bit, but not very long. And Rodgers took off, boom, boom, boom. So I know. Okay, so Green Bay comes out week 1. They win the game 38-20. It was against the Bears.
The Bears.
And I said on the podcast, I was like, I'm kind of surprised. Like I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
They lost the next week by 1 point. Okay. I mean, I'll take it. Then they get the shit kicked out of them until the very end by the Saints at home in Lambeau, and they come back and win 18-17. And then now they get the shit kicked out of them in Lambeau by the Detroit Lions. They tried to make a comeback and they couldn't. So what I'm seeing here is a trend of where it was, wow, it's over. It's you're exceeding expectations, and now it's coming down to this is kind of where I thought you'd be.
The reality
I'm not saying
of
Green
it.
Bay sucks. Right, yeah, the reality. There you go. Perfect. The reality. Not saying the team sucks. It's just more of like, as a Packer fan coming into this season, I think if I remember right, I think I had them winning, had a winning record, but not making playoffs this year.
Yeah, that was your call out
And
from
if this trend continues, maybe not the winning record part, but no playoffs, obviously. But like, I think, and I feel like Green Bay's beat up, and David Bakhtiari's hurt. He's been hurt again. Like it's the same old shit, and I feel like it's too early to be this beat up. But at the same time, I feel like the first game was big. Wow, I couldn't believe that. And then it just slowly has come to, well, this is where I kind of thought it would be. And I'm not upset about it at all, because the same thing happened to Rodgers his first year. They didn't, if I remember right, they didn't make playoffs and they had a losing record, I think. So it's nothing new. It's just more of it's a jumping off point, like a growing point.
So
yeah,
like what I saw, just to chime in and like on my point of view from it, right? Because like the Packers, they've always been a good team. I've always really liked the Packers, like Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, they had great seasons. Randall Cobb, Jordy Nelson. They had great defense. Clay Matthews. Like it's a fun team to always watch. Obviously, the history behind Lambeau. And then my close buddies, Domo included, like big Packer fans. So you learn to support a team that your buddies are supporting too.
Yeah.
And what we were talking about while I was watching the game, at least, is they are getting to the point where it feels like they allow too many points, and you can't do this in football where you play every game coming back, like you're trying to catch up to what you just allowed. And this is exactly what happened, because Green Bay on Thursday, they were slowly making that comeback, like you said, and they just couldn't finish it off. And it was just, the gap was too wide at that point. Obviously, they did the same thing with the Saints, and then they were actually able to close that gap and then take the victory. But with Detroit being a Detroit team that's really good this year, with Jared Goff behind center, obviously, and then also I don't know, Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, like it's not clicking. Obviously, Aaron Jones coming off of that injury obviously slows him down a lot. But I was gonna say, but like you can't go into every week expecting for you to make a comeback and get the win at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't, in football. It doesn't work that way. You can have 100%. A comeback win here and there, but not every week. You have to take the lead.
I agree 100%. That's what I was saying. Like with the Saints game, they were losing 17-0, and they just happened to come back 18-17 win. Boom, that's great. And then you go the following week and you're getting beat down again, and you mount kind of a comeback and you can't finish it. And this lead was a bigger lead, and I agree with you with AJ Dillon and Jones. Like he was hurt and everything like that. No excuses, right? But at the same time, AJ Dillon, number 2 back, and he's a good back. He's proven to be a good back. It's just not working right now. And the Green Bay offensive line, no excuses. They are beat up. And Bakhtiari, like I said, again, he's hurt at the 3rd week every single year after signing a big contract. And he's probably one of the best left tackles in the game when he's healthy. He just can't stay healthy for more than 3 weeks is the problem, you know. And I've been seeing like stuff online, and no legit sources that I know of, but from what I understand, is Bakhtiari. He's at the end of his deal, and Green Bay's being hush about it. Supposedly, Rodgers wants him to go to the Jets. Okay, that's great. And Rodgers comes back and he's healthy. He's had a bunch of knee injuries, but you get Bakhtiari, he's probably going to get hurt again. He's just his knees. He's a big dude, like they all are, but his knees, they just can't handle it. He's had another surgery. It's like his fifth surgery or something.
They're not there anymore.
He is a great left tackle. He just cannot stay healthy. But to go back to the Green Bay Packer thing, like I feel like basically what I'm trying to say is I feel like it's coming down to earth. Like that was a great win week 1, but this is where we're at right now, and this is where it's gonna be because you lost, and it wasn't only Aaron Rodgers that left. There was other players that left, and other players that have been traded or hurt or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's coming down to earth, I guess is what I'm saying. Is this is kind of where I saw it coming.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll have to see the rest of the season, but
yeah, and it like we always say, right? Like the season, obviously, we're still at the very beginning of it, but it is time to start. You start seeing different moves being made, where you're like, okay, now I see the momentum going. Obviously, right now Detroit is riding high, 3-1, but they've obviously adjusted to certain things, and now because that spot in the NFC is up for grabs. Really, with Green Bay not being that powerhouse team or not having that great QB behind center, it's really up for grabs. And Detroit has made themselves known. Obviously.
I wouldn't say up for grabs because the Bears haven't won a game yet, and I think the Vikings haven't won a game yet.
Yeah, they're 1-3.
It's going to be between
they won this last
it's
week.
Between the Packers and Lions. Yeah, it's between the Packers and Lions the Lions have the upper hand because the Lions won this divisional game. If it comes like to face off,
yeah.
And then the Packers beat the Bears week 1.
So yeah, I mean, and that's I don't know that division itself. It's always been a Packers division, and then Minnesota has made a name, and then Detroit usually kind of sneaks in or will get hot at the end. This year it's a little different with Detroit being hot at the beginning. And we're seeing them, take 3-1 victories or whatever, and obviously beating the Packers in Lambeau is huge for anybody really because Lambeau is such a crazy place to play in from weather wise, fan base wise. It's just a different environment to be in. So I don't know, seeing them almost make that comeback again, I was excited for it, but at the same time I was like, you can't be playing every week looking for a comeback. You need to take the lead from the get and just take off with it at that point.
Yeah, it's not surprising. I mean, they got to figure stuff out. Like I think I said like a 2 or 3 podcasts ago, when the head coach came in, he runs the team, but when he came in new, Aaron Rodgers is established. So it's like, I want to run this play while Aaron Rodgers has a say-so in it, and the organization backs him in that because of what he's proven number-wise. He has won a Super Bowl, all that stuff, multiple MVPs. So with LaFleur now having a quarterback and Jordan Love that he makes the calls and Jordan Love is saying like, yes, sir, that kind of thing. He doesn't run the offense like Aaron Rodgers did, where Aaron Rodgers gets on the field and said, yeah, I see your play call. I see this defense. I'm changing it, whatever. I feel like Green Bay, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. It's going to be growing pains this year, I think, on both sides of the football. And I'm actually kind of surprised at their defense, how not well they're playing. I thought their defense was going to be a lot better than it is right now, but it is only 4 weeks in. So
a lot of stuff can change. A lot of time to make improvements wherever, like we say. So, but yeah, we obviously with the Thursday night game kicking the week off, you want to talk about that, and obviously being a Packers game. Go ahead.
Real quick. I meant to make this point just a second ago. I still think the Lions are going to choke. Before the season started, I think we made some predictions, and I said I stood on my stool and I said the Lions haven't done shit, blah blah blah. I still think the Lions. I think they're going to be good, and they could possibly win this division. It's looking like that right now, but I think I still think when they hit the playoffs, they'll probably just get eliminated. I think. Okay. So I'm still sticking to that. I think the Lions are going to do shit.
But either way, like in past years, they've been. I mean, like Misa said, it's always been a Packers and Minnesota type of thing, and now you got the Lions coming up and Minnesota dropping down, because I just looked at all the past records, and the Lions have been sitting in 4th for the past 6 years. So it's not like they've ever been relevant till last year, where they kind of started like knocking on the door, and then this year they're leading. But there's so much football left, and so many, God forbid, injuries could happen that, you know, a lot of stuff could still happen. And the Packers could have lost this game and win the next 10. You know, like it doesn't mean anything right now. But
no, I get it. Yeah.
But from the looks of it, it does look like the Lions are in my eyes, the stronger team in the NFC North. So that's just my opinion, like Misa says.
I would agree. I would agree with that. The only thing I'm saying is like I would not be surprised if they win the NFC North, but I'm not going to be surprised if they win the NFC North and lose round one. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that too, though. I can see that too.
The NFC North, and you got to see the 49ers. You got all these other NFC teams, and they make adjustments and blah blah blah. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they win the NFC North, and I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do anything in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's been the, besides the Packers, that's been the NFC North, because the Packers, and this is now a Packers podcast, but like they make the playoffs and they either don't do anything or they go on a deep run and lose, except for that like third year that Aaron Rodgers started and they won the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So it's like the NFC North, since Rodgers left, the NFC North, I don't think is going to be very relevant in the NFC conference. Is what I'm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
At least not for a little bit. At least not for a little bit.
For a little bit, yeah, because it's just you take away such a big key, such a big like person that was the face of that division, and you take it away, and then now it's kind of like, all right, well, let's see what's going to happen.
It's all in the
air.
air.
Any fan in the NFC North, and then they, I hate the Packers. I hate Rodgers. Why? Because they're good. And now, you know, there's injuries and Rodgers left, and it's like, well, now we have a chance, but I don't feel like those teams, especially the Bears, Vikings. I know the Vikings fell off, but even the Lions, I don't think they have like enough to like make a deep run.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean,
I'll stop repeating myself.
So with the Packers, obviously they're now 2-2, if I'm not mistaken, and the Lions are 3-1. The Packers do go into Vegas and play the Raiders this coming week. And I think the Lions play the
Raiders.
The Lions play the Panthers, and the Panthers are 0-4. They go to Detroit, though, and play. So we'll see what they do. But when we go into the Sunday games, did you guys watch the Toy Story game at all? The Jaguars versus Falcons game?
I saw like little clips of it.
I was fishing.
Yeah.
I was fishing.
I didn't watch the game in Toy Story mode, but it seems cool. Like, I get the implementation of it, like involve the kids and make it more like attractive to everybody else. Because like last year we had the SpongeBob theme thing. Now you have Toy Story thing. It is pretty cool, the technology. I'm not gonna lie, how it does do the live movements.
It's pretty
insane.
Not
like, yeah, it's crazy to think that they're doing that, and especially across the pond in the UK, playing in London. So it was pretty cool to see. I did like seeing the Slinky Dog being the yard, the 10-yard down, and then if there was a penalty, he just stretched out backwards. I was like, that's pretty cool. But I mean, that game ended 23-7 with the Jags taking the win. The one game I do want to talk about on Sunday, not just the 49ers and stuff like that, but the Houston Texans actually took their second victory.
Yes, sir.
Domo actually called this one out, said that the Texans were going to win, so that was great to see. But they beat the brakes off of Pittsburgh 30-6.
Yeah.
CJ
I wasn't
Stroud,
expecting that.
Yeah.
The
CJ
Stroud boys.
2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He still currently has 6 TDs, no interceptions, and 1,200 yards in the air. So clap for CJ Stroud, Chris, if you have the clap ready, because that is a great performance.
Golf, keep it quiet.
That
Not
is
too much,
a
not
great
too much.
performance for the Texans. Obviously, I know Texans fans are hella excited. They're thinking that this is what they were missing, was the missing key, obviously being a great QB.
And a coach to back him.
Yeah, and we haven't seen enough film to obviously know what CJ Stroud's going to do for the remainder of the year.
Thank you.
From the start of it, it is a great performance already. 60 D, 0 interceptions for the season. Great performance. You can't take that away. He's still balling his eyes out over there. So as long as he's doing good and he's healthy, you know, potential rookie of the year candidate.
I said it
for the NFL.
I said it before the season started. With CJ Stroud, we didn't, the Texans didn't know what was going to happen. But D'Amico coming in, he is a Houston native already. He played for the Texans. Then he went to the Niners and learned so much over there being a defensive coordinator. Then came back and became a head coach. and is absolutely killing it. In the sense of, when I say killing it, I don't think the Texans will make any playoff contention. I don't think they're gonna even make a deep run like that. But them being 2-2 is
wins by killing it.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
no wins.
They're 2-2, and that's better than they've done in the past years. So that's a win. And the Packers are 2-2. So like, and the Packers have been a strong suit always. So what I'm trying to say is, like, the Texans, they're not gonna win any. I don't think they're gonna win anything. But I mean, I could be proven wrong. But they're 2-2 right now. They're who do they play next? I just had it pulled. Oh, they're playing the Falcons next on Sunday, so that's another possibility. You know, like, the Texans' schedule is actually really not that difficult. They got the Falcons and the Saints, and then the Panthers. Those three games are up in the air. Then they go against the Bucks. That could be a little bit more confrontational, and then the Bengals. But in just looking at the season itself,
the Bengals have been booty cheeks this year so far. They're 1-3,
so the schedule is not like not on the Texans' favor. Like, actually looking at it, they have a pretty good fair schedule.
They can easily take all those games as wins.
Yeah.
And they can put that in the win column and then end the season there, and that's a great win for them this year. Right?
That's,
like,
2 victories is more than they had last year.
Yeah, if you look at the logistics of it, like, if they could just go on and win these, that is the most victories that they've had in the last 2 years. So, I mean, I don't know the exact number, but, I like saying, like, the organization itself is actually on on an up, coming up with that. Obviously you need more weapons. You still need to get better on certain, slot receivers, running backs, whatever you build around. Yeah. But now you have a player that you can build around, and it's C.J. Stroud. So I think he's doing great.
I will say, sorry to bring it up, but I will say they had Deshaun Watson to build around, and look how that turned out. I'm not saying that's the Houston Texans' fault, obviously, but
I will say for the Sean thing. I mean, like I said, whenever Misa first started talking about the Texans right now, CJ has a good coach behind him, teaching him, a good leader behind him. Deshaun Watson did not have that.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien
who was the head coach? It was Bill O'Brien. Right?
Yeah, it was Bill O'Brien. Then it switched to the other I forgot his name, but then he left immediately, and then Lovie Smith came in, but that wasn't even him.
Bill O'Brien.
Oh, it was Lovie Smith.
No. Lovie Smith came in with Davis Mills. That was last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, the thing is with Bill O'Brien, though, right? Like, Bill O'Brien was a good coach, and he was taking that team to victories, and then he got way too much power, but then he started letting people go. And then you build around the Deshaun Watson, but then you let go of all his weapons, and then you let go of the defense, and it's literally like Bill O'Brien knew he was on the way out, and he was like, if I'm going out, I'm taking the team with me, and literally that's what he did. He was
the Chip Kelly of the Eagles.
Yeah,
is what happened.
That's exactly.
Bill O'Brien did exactly to Houston what Chip Kelly did to the Eagles. Was I know what I'm doing, and got rid of all the good players, and not all the good. Well, Chip Kelly got rid of all the good players, but Bill O'Brien did almost that, and then it wasn't enough, and it fell apart.
So just going off of that. So it was Bill O'Brien from 2014 all the way to 2020. In 2021, they had David Culley, and then Lovie Smith 2022, and now D'Amico Ryans for the foreseeable future. So that was.
I don't remember the Culley part.
That was in 2021.
Interim coach, I'm assuming, just like Lovie
pretty
Smith.
much.
For what, 1 year? 1 year?
And then Lovie Smith was another interim coach as well, and he went 3-13. Which actually everybody was on his ass in the sense of why would you win your last game? But it looks like it worked out for them because they got the number 2 and they got C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, it worked. I remember when he won that game, and I was like, man, the one game you're not supposed to win. And you won it, but I mean, then you get C.J. Stroud, and that's a great pickup regardless.
And Bryce Young is not that hot right now, so I mean, isn't he
Bryce
injured?
Young, so it's great to see a young QB in the Houston organization playing good because you had that possibility with Deshaun Watson coming into the league and playing good for Houston. Obviously, Deshaun went through personal stuff, and with the rebuild around him after that. It kind of ruined his reputation. But C.J. Stroud is, for now, from what we see, knock on wood, stay healthy, he is going to be that future QB for that organization. But like we said, we haven't seen enough film to know how good he's actually going to be, but from the looks of it, he's looking great right now. You know, he's still up there in the top passing yards of the league right now. So you can't really take that away from him. Young kid, he's going to play with his heart out because he wants to make sure that he gets a contract. He doesn't want the rookie contract anymore. He wants the accolades. He wants to give Houston a win. He wants to give Houston a reason to go back into NRG Stadium and watch him play. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to see what that build's going to do for the Texans organization. Excited to see him go 2-2 with the possibility of winning the next few games and having a winning record this year. You never know. Doesn't mean that they're going to make the playoffs off the bat, but you know, to have a potential team that you're like, okay, we went 5 and whatever, or we only won 6 games this year. Okay, what can we do to win 8 next year? What can we do to win 9 the following? And you just build from there, you know. And with a good coach in hand, who knows what can happen? But yeah,
I want to say,
sorry,
I want to say I do feel. I like the Texans. I do like the Texans. I live here in Houston. I'm not from Houston, but I do like the Texans. I'm not. If it's Texas, I'll root for the Texans every day. And when they play Green Bay, I'm rooting for Green Bay.
Yeah,
of course.
But I do feel bad for the Texans because, like, when they became a team in 2002 after the Oilers, and I would say all their success, but they didn't win a Super Bowl and all that stuff either. If I remember right, the Oilers never even went to a Super Bowl, if I remember correctly, and neither have the Texans. So Houston's never even been to a Super Bowl. They haven't even been in
the closest they've been in one was whenever the Patriots played here against the Chiefs or someone like that.
The Falcons.
The Super Bowl was here.
Exactly.
That was the Falcons.
So I feel bad. Yeah, I feel bad for the Texans in a sense of like when when Houston Texans became a team here, and they were building. J.J. Watt, and they had Wade Phillips took them from like the worst defense in the league to the number 1 defense, and that's how they were winning with like Matt Schaub and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and they had Arian Foster and everything like that. But then it kind of shifted, and then finally, what Houston needed since 2002 was a quarterback, and they got Deshaun Watson, and it looked extremely promising. Everything happened with Deshaun Watson and all that stuff, but then if you look at it, everybody started. DeAndre Hopkins left. J.J. Watt left. Everybody started bailing. It's like it's like in the locker room they saw, okay, this is about to explode or implode, I guess. So I guess what I'm saying, I feel bad for the Texans in a sense, like they were on the right track. They had a great defense, and that kind of somewhat fell off, and then the offensive side took off, and then it just now it's like they're not. I feel like they're not going to be really good for a while. I feel like.
Wow.
I mean, I think
you're just
that,
a party
I feel
pooper
like,
today, Domo.
I feel like CJ Stroud. I feel like CJ Stroud could be that turnaround though that they needed. They obviously needed a QB from the start, and him competing for that spot because that spot wasn't given to him though. That spot wasn't given to him at the beginning of the season.
You need a bunch of other stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, but we can say the same thing for all 30 other teams on the league. You know what I mean? That everybody needs something else, but you build around somebody.
Right.
Just like, for example, like to bring it to more perspective, like for Green Bay, you're gonna build around Jordan Love, you know, because he's your center. He's your center focus right now because he's behind center. So you're gonna have to build around him. So Houston's gonna have to build around CJ Stroud. But we don't know how good he's going to be this year.
Right, and we don't know how good Jordan Love's going to be, but at the same time, Jordan Love's inheriting, I feel like, a better team than what CJ Stroud's getting.
Yeah, for sure. For now. But
absolutely.
And this is just to defend the possibility of them having a winning season in the coming years is – we don't know what CJ Stroud's going to get next year. What happens if you know they end up trading or making trades or picking up a great receiver in the draft or picking up a great offensive line? You know, like we don't know what's going to happen if the defense comes back around because DeMeco Ryans was a defensive coordinator and he was great there, so he's probably going to put focus on the defense as well.
And keep in mind, what I just said a second ago was I just feel bad for the Texans because of where they were. Like they were about to be like they were on the road to being a legit contender, and then everything just fell apart. Like everybody left, and then there was a bunch of like side drama, and it went to like from
just going.
They're here, and then they just left. You know,
just going off of what you said about Jordan Love inheriting. Yes, I think you're 100% correct there. But also inheriting doesn't mean you're gonna end up winning. If you keep looking at like the 6 championships that Brady had in the Patriots, and then look at them now with Mac Jones completely ruining that team, and then now you could say, well, Brady did carry that team with Gronk, and all that stuff, and Edelman, and they had that great run.
Yep.
But only because you inherit a great team doesn't mean you can lead a great team. So I think
you just have a better chance.
Yeah. You're 100% right there. You have a better chance. You have better coaches. You have better history there, a better fan base. Bro, like, honestly, if you went to Texas game last year or the year before, I did, and that stadium had more of the opposite team than the home team. And then you're like, bro, where the hell are the actual Texas natives at? And then I went to a Seahawks game last year, and there were more Seahawks jerseys there than Texans jerseys there. That's sad.
Yeah.
But that's the whole point, that to turn it around.
It's kind of to build what Domo was saying, though. Like, the organization has been through so much in the couple years that fans also gave up on them. You know, I gave up on them. I was like, when they got rid of all their top talent for nickels, like, I was like, I'm out of here, dude. Like, I don't want to support Bill O'Brien and all these mistakes he was making, because he got rid of D-Hop for not even a first-round pick. You know, like, and then he got rid of, like, J.J. Watt was like, I'm leaving too. Like, and then, like Domo said, everybody just started walking out the door, and they were just letting them go. So the organization went through a lot, which means that the fan base went through a lot too, because the fans were so hot because they were almost there. They were not saying that they were in the Super Bowl, but they were playoff contenders on a yearly basis, and then you take that away, you take it out from under them. You know what I mean? Like the saying says. And then, you know, they're struggling now. And then now you have C.J. Stroud, which is a great, you know, pickup for him on the draft. And they're 2-2, so you still got a lot of playoffs. I mean, a lot of games to play, there's still potential of taking a couple more wins. And then if you don't make the playoffs this year, okay, well now you know. Okay, well we got 5 wins last year. Let's go for 7 this year. Let's break 500. You know, like, and then you build off of that momentum, and it also makes the organization a lot more sane, because you're not going to get rid of your coach every year. You know, like they did the last 2 years with interim coaches here and there. So maybe you keep the coach a little bit longer, and then he picks up a defensive coordinator, and he picks up some defensive players, and then it just builds from there. My point was that you build around somebody that's solid and founded, which in this case it is C.J. Stroud for them currently. But we don't know what's going to happen. Still a lot of football left, and he's only played 4 games so far. So obviously we're rooting for him. Hopefully he stays healthy, and hopefully he keeps balling out like the way he is. And then, you know, we'll see what happens at the end of the season. When it comes to other games during the Sunday, we had a couple close games with the Chiefs and the Jets. That was a weird reason why that one was so close. And then you did have the Dallas Cowboys beating the brakes off of the Patriots 38-3. The Dallas Cowboys from one week to another decide that they are a good team again. Obviously, they're going in pretty hot and going into this week playing San Fran. But they did beat the Patriots 38-3. Mac Jones is not that guy for the New England Patriots, in my opinion, through 2 interceptions, a QB rating of 39.9. I didn't even know you could get that low. That is insane.
Would you rather have Mac Jones or Justin Fields?
I'd rather
Zach Wilson.
I'd rather give the ball off. Just hand it off to the running back.
I'll just hand the ball off.
Play action all day, bro.
And then Dak Prescott, he did have a good performance. 261 yards, 1 TD, no interceptions this time around. QB rating of 108. So Dak Prescott did pretty good that game. 38-3. Hell of a performance from the Dallas Cowboys. They played the Patriots, but the Patriots are also in that weird stage right now where you don't know what the hell they're going to do, if they're going to be good or they're going to be bad. Looks like they're going to be bad.
I think Bill Belichick's in that weird stage, and he's never been there before.
Yeah,
where it's like, what the fuck are we going to do here?
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, he's very confused right now. He's so confused he put sleeves on his sweater. He's like, maybe this will help.
No. Yeah. Robert Kraft's like, shit is hitting the fan now. He's got sleeves on.
Yeah.
He's actually, bro, you know it's bad whenever Bill Belichick hated to do like post-game conferences and all this.
Yep.
And now he's going on podcasts, talking about Taylor Swift for no reason. And then it's just
the Taylor Swift stuff. Oh my God.
It's not that serious no more.
But the Cowboys do go into Santa Clara and play the San Francisco 49ers, who are still the only other team that's undefeated besides the Philadelphia Eagles, which the Philly Eagles almost lost to the Washington Commanders. It was 34-31. in overtime.
Divisional game.
Yeah,
Divisional
and
game.
What did we say about divisional games? They play a lot better when it's those divisional competitions. Yeah, that division.
NFC East, that division. They're always competitive every time. Oh, most of the time.
So
that division's super competitive.
With Philly, and I know I used the F word with them last year. I'm not using it with them this year. But Jalen Hurts, 319, 2 TDs, 0 interceptions, 112 QB rating. Hell of a game by him. Weird to see it go to overtime against the Washington Commanders, but the Philadelphia Eagles still remain undefeated. They're the only other team that's undefeated. As of Sunday, it was 3 teams. It was the Miami Dolphins, but they got the brakes beat off of them. Reality
that was crazy.
Yeah, by Buffalo.
Yeah.
Buffalo, again, another possible contender this year. Obviously started with a loss, but they ended up turning it right around in 3-1 now. I do want to read the power rankings for this week based off of certain analysts. Top 10 power rankings for week 4 is the Chargers at number 10, Seahawks at 9, Ravens at 8, Dolphins at 7, 6 is the Detroit Lions, 5 is the Cowboys, Buffalo Bills are 4, Eagles are 3, Kansas City Chiefs are 2, and now the 49ers are ranked number 1. And I think it's only because the 49ers offense is so power driven right now, with CMC having a potential MVP season, 4 TDs this last week, 3 rushing and 1 receiving. So he had a hell of a game. Brandon Ayuk is balling out over there. He had 150 yards this last Sunday. But the 49ers and the Cowboys do play this weekend. I know that's a huge game that a lot of people are going to go watch because it's always such a hard-hitting game when it comes to that. But as a 49er fan, I am afraid of Micah Parsons. He scares me, and he gives me nightmares. So I am not looking forward to Brock Purdy facing that this weekend. What are y'all's thoughts on the game coming up this Sunday with the Niners and the Cowboys?
Niners and Cowboys. It's going to be a great game, bro. I love it because that's the San Francisco and Dallas rivalry is so awesome to see. Because they hate this legit hate. It's not like how Domo says, like, well, why do you hate the Green Bay Packers at the time, you know? Oh, it's because they're good. No, we hate the Cowboys because they talk too much and they don't do nothing. So that's what I'm expecting this game to be. I'm expecting Brock Purdy to come in, showing what's up. CMC dominating just like he did this past Sunday. And Brandon Ayuk, bro, the San Francisco 49ers are a dominant team, bro. On defensive side, offensive side, special teams, kickoffs, everything. So, and then the Dallas is also really, I think Dallas, I can't knock them either. They're a dominant team, but I just think they are a choking team as well. So, and I don't think Dak Prescott will be able to handle Nick Bosa coming in and giving him the killer instinct eyes and then just completely dominating that field. So, I think, I don't know if we're doing our picks yet, but obviously I'm going to go San Fran for that one. But I do think it's going to be a close game, though. I will say that. I think it's going to be close back and forth. It is in San Fran, but and you know how the fans out in San Francisco are, so it's going to be awesome. But I'd call San Fran winning it.
So I think that, like you were saying, like Dak Prescott's not going to be able to handle Nick Bosa, but Nick Bosa hasn't played obviously as dominant as he played last year, but you still have to worry about Fred Warner out there, Hufanga, you got to worry about Tyler Ward. So there's a lot more weapons than just Nick Bosa, but Nick Bosa is going to be doubled up a lot because he does not want to, they don't want to let him get to Dak Prescott.
The beauty of having a dominant defense, bro, where you can tie up one guy, but that's going to free up someone else. You tie them both up, then you got the third, then you got the fourth. So it's like you got to look everywhere. So I think that's the awesome thing of having a team where the defense is so, like, you can tell their presence is on the field by the time they get out there because they have so many different weapons. So that's why, yes, you're 100% correct. They can tie up Nick Bosa with 2 or 3, but then you're freeing up someone else.
You're gonna get hit by somebody else. So it's gonna be a physical game, though. I'm not gonna take this one lightly. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout by either team. I think it's gonna be a very competitive, very defensive game because you still have to worry about Micah Parsons because he is crazy, and you have to worry about the Dallas offense because if they get hot, they can score. If Dak finds a gap or whatever,
A
he's going to
groove
be
or
able to
something.
run up. So something can happen, but I do think it's gonna be a defensive game. But at the same time, I think that the defense is going to allow some points. So I'm calling it that it's going to be a 35 to like 30 kind of game. It's going to be up there in the 60s total scored points, but I think that the San Francisco 49ers are going to ride the undefeated streak and then go in and take that victory. They need to, in my opinion. Domo, what are your thoughts of the game? You don't have to make a prediction for the game, but just what are your thoughts on the game?
The game specifically, I'll start off with saying the Niners, I think they're the best team in the NFC. Cowboys are also in the NFC, but the Niners are the best team on both sides of the football, including special teams. I think the Niners win this game. I don't know by how much. I don't know about the score. I know Micah Parsons and all that stuff. But I can't remember. I think Misa, I think you mentioned it. What it comes down to is they have Dak, and what has Dak done this season? He hasn't done shit. This last game, the Cowboys had a good game, and he had one touchdown. I think the Niners are going to win this game, and I think it's going to be easy. I think the Niners win. Like I said, I don't have a score prediction, but I think the Niners are going to win by quite a bit. I know the Dallas defense is good, not discrediting that, but the Cowboys are going to have to outscore the 49ers, and Dak just hasn't done shit this year. So I think Niners all the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for it. It's a Sunday night game, so it's in my eyes, it's the game to watch this week coming up.
It's a Sunday night game.
Yeah.
Sunday night game. So
Okay.
yeah, so
Perfect. Yeah, that's good.
in my opinion, it's the game of the week. Obviously with that like Chris was saying, that rivalry for all those years, like it's built up, and both teams were, in my opinion, they were both supposed to be undefeated and go into this game both 4-0. But the Cowboys did take the loss to the Cardinals, obviously, the week before. So, but they bounced back and beat the Patriots and didn't let them score a TD. So there's that.
And Dak had one touchdown.
Yeah, and Dak had one touchdown. But no interception, though, so you got to give him there. At least he didn't throw it to the other team.
38 points, and he had one touchdown. Like, come on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's game of the week for me, in my opinion. I know last year, in my opinion, why do I keep saying that? Obviously, it's my opinion. But
we know it's your opinion.
I think it's your opinion,
last year we had when we would do our picks, we would do like game of the week, shit game of the week, upset of the week. I think that this game is the game of the week, the 49ers versus the Cowboys. It's going to be a banger of a game. I think points is going to be crazy, and I don't know. We'll see. I'm excited for it. I'm not going to talk too highly on it because I do not want to jinx the 49ers with being so hot right now. And obviously, I want everybody to stay healthy.
Yeah.
But just a little nugget before we go into our picks. The Broncos and Bears game, right? 31 to 28. The Bears still haven't got that victory, but I just wanted to throw this out there. The last time the Bears have won a game was October 24th, 2022.
Jeez.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So Bears fans, how you doing?
They might be tanking, and I get it, but that's pretty bad.
It's tough to see.
I thought you were going to say something else.
Well, no, I did, but I guess the only thing worse is being what was it, the Falcons, Patriots in the Super Bowl, having that type of lead and losing. That's the only other thing that's worse than that. But the two worst teams in the league playing each other, and one has a 14 or 21 point lead, and then
yeah.
somebody was going to shit the bed, and it just there you go. Why wouldn't it be like that?
I mean, so this week the Bears play the Commanders on Thursday. The Commanders are 2-2, so they're not a crazy great team either, but they're better than the Bears, and they're going to Washington. So
they've won.
They've at least got 2 wins. Yeah, exactly. But speaking on next week's games, a couple games to watch. Obviously, we know that for mine. Personal choice, it's going to be the game of the week, 49ers Cowboys. But let's go into our picks if you guys are ready. Chris, you need a comeback this week, bro.
Yeah.
I needed to come back last week. I went 0-3 the week before, buddy.
Buddy.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm right there with you. I went 0-3 the week before.
I'm telling
so
you, bro. Don't makes me laugh, bro.
So go ahead with your picks, Chris, if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'll go. Okay, so I'm going to go. Damn. I'm not going to do anything with the Texans. Last year when I chose them, they lost every single game I chose. So I'm going to go Buffalo and Jacksonville. I'm actually going to go with the Jags. I'm going to go Jags for Yes.
This
You
is
heard
why
that
you're
correctly.
losing.
They're coming back from London. You remember that, right?
They
played in
are
London
winning.
on Sunday.
Guys, these are my picks. Whenever you're your picks,
Yeah,
you
okay,
choose.
Okay.
No, Domo, they still playing in
Okay.
London.
All right.
They're still playing in London Sunday against Buffalo. They're not coming to Buffalo.
Oh, you're right.
Buffalo's traveling.
No, Mama's way.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay, then we got. I'm gonna
Chris.
choose a like a boring game. I'm gonna go Saints and New England, and I'm gonna go Saints. I have no hope for Mac Jones at all, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Miami over Giants.
So you played it safe this week.
Sort of, because I did last week too, and I still lost.
All right, Domo, you want to go with yours?
I'm gonna go with the Rams too, because they're in a bye week, so I can't lose.
The Rams play the Eagles. What you mean?
What?
The Rams play the Eagles. Nobody's in the bye week this week.
I said that I meant the
gonna say-
Chargers. I meant the Chargers. My bad. I saw LA.
Yeah, the Rams are not on a bye week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I looked at that game, and I was gonna take the Eagles, but I'm like, nah, they're still undefeated. I didn't take them, and that's not one of my picks either. But just saying,
Go ahead, Domo.
with what?
Your picks.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So I'm taking. It's gonna be Cowboys versus 49ers. I'm picking the Niners. Chiefs versus Vikings. I'm taking the Chiefs. There's no way I'm taking the Vikings in that fucking game. And then the Giants versus the Dolphins. And I'm taking the Dolphins not just because they're playing the Giants and it's at home against the Dolphins, but the Dolphins got to bounce back after that. They got to bounce back. So I feel like the Dolphins is like a lock. I feel like it's a lock win. If Vegas probably, yeah.
All right.
So
Okay. Not bad. Looks like everybody's playing a little bit safer. I'm going to go with the 49ers as well, beating the Cowboys. I'm going to go with the Bills beating the Jags, so it gives me an up on Chris. And then I'm going to go with the Bengals beating the Cardinals. So I'm going to go
you
Bengals.
said Texans, so you're going to be against the Bengals beating the Texans. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going Bengals beating the Cardinals. Both teams are 1-3. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that one. That one's kind of a toss-up for me. But yeah, so we got a lot of games. Monday night game is Green Bay at Vegas. So that'll be fun to watch Devontae Adams against his old team. So maybe he wants to come back.
That's not going to be fun.
So
I feel like that's not going to be fun.
but that's Monday night, Sunday night Cowboys Niners, and Thursday night Bears and Commanders. And that is our football week 4 wrapped up and predictions for week 5. So we hope you enjoyed. I have an answer, maybe.
I don't think you do. So with the Jags playing in London this past weekend, and they're playing in London again, is this the first time where like the home? Because if I remember right, the Jags were the home team in London. They're staying two weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And you have 2 different teams coming in. That's like a disadvantage. Is that the first time it's happened?
No, so I think
I know the NFL is always like trying to like mold it. But...
So I think that the London game, if I'm not mistaken, the team that traveled first stays, and they stay again until the next week to play again.
So it's been that way.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, that's how it is.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Because you obviously got to take into account like jet lag and all that stuff.
So the Jags would have, for this instance, the Jags would have the advantage because they played Atlanta and now they're playing another team, so they would have the advantage.
Because they don't have to travel. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, that's how it's been. Obviously, there's always been talks about expanding the NFL to the UK. And there's actually a lot of Jags fans over there because the Jags have been in the UK for so long playing over there. Every year they go and play over there because there's a lot of Jacksonville fans out there, which is hella random because there's not even Jacksonville fans in Jacksonville.
Because of Roger Goodell.
So, yeah, exactly. So, but
because of Roger Goodell.
Yeah.
He planted the team over there.
The payaso. All right, so that wraps up our NFL segment. We did not have a top 3 pick for this week. We do apologize for that. We were just under the impression we were going to squeeze in the game, but the game took a little bit our conversations took longer today. But obviously, there's a lot of
Just
football
totally
going
fine.
on. NFL playoffs. NFL and playoffs are on. Baseball playoffs are on. Also, WWE pay-per-view this weekend. WWE Fastlane in Indianapolis. That's happening. You have the Champions League going off and the Premier League going off. A lot of sports to watch. Hockey season
And
is coming right around the corner. You have college football.
7 days.
Yeah, you have college football playing right now, so you got a lot of stuff that's coming up. NBA is coming right around the corner. Obviously, Dame Lillard is a Milwaukee Buck. If we didn't mention that already, but if you follow us on
Yep.
Instagram, you saw our post already. Dame Lillard is a Buck now. Follow us on all social medias. We post everything pre-episode and after our episode airs. You can watch us on YouTube. Our videos drop on Friday, and so do our episodes. If you don't like something, let us know. Shoot us a DM. It's a lot easier to contain what we're listening to. We want to make sure that we make good content. So if you guys don't like something, if you guys want us to add something, or if you guys want to talk about a certain subject, just let us know. Shoot us a message. Instagram is the easiest way to get a hold of us, or shoot us an email. It's reviewingthecall@gmail.com. Other than that, it's been fun. It's a great week. Great week of sports. Enjoy playoffs, baseball. Go Dodgers. Wrap us up, Chris. Take us out of here because I'm running out of words. Hurry up, please. Anytime.